everyone. Welcome back to our first podcast in 8 years. We are back from the dead. I am Nick, and I'm here with Eli. Eli, say hi.
Hey, what's up?
And it seems like the recording is going well. A lot has changed in 8 years since our last podcast. We're recording on this new thing. We're not like using Audacity anymore, which is strange. What else? So what have you been up to, Eli, in the last 8 years?
Well, besides same old bullshit, I'm a grandpa now. I'm a
Hey,
grandpapa.
Grandpa, Gramps, Grampy. What is your preferred grandpa
Grampy.
name? It's Grampy, really?
The preferred nomenclature in my house is Pop Pop.
Pop Pop. I like that.
Me too.
And how is your grandson? Is he good? Is he enjoying life
He's
since our
great.
last podcast?
He is great, man. Great. Yes, maybe we should let the people know that if they actually do search the interwebs, they can find the remains of 99 Lives, podcast. It's still out
It's
there.
still there. I mean, have you found recordings of it?
Not recordings, but I know the old. No. It's still there where you could listen to it on those free blog websites from back in the day. I'm forgetting what the fuck they were called.
Was it Blogger?
Blogger or some yeah, but they're there because I know.
Yeah.
I've checked it out every once in a blue moon, and they're still there. I mean, not a lot, but a few.
Yeah, I caught the listing on iTunes. I saw that it was still there. So it was called 99 Lives Radio. The last episode that I saw was in 2012. I saw the reviews and I saw the podcast notes, but I didn't get to actually hear it. So if you're a super sleuth, you can probably find something out there. I looked, I couldn't find the audio, but yeah, it's out there.
Actually,
So that's
they
cool.
have it on Stitcher. You can listen to it, at least some of it.
Okay, because I remember we had such a good intro song, so we'll have to resurrect the intro song because I don't think this one's gonna have an intro song.
Just have us beatboxing.
Yeah, it's gonna be something. I mean, the first one's gonna be finding all the potholes and patching them up. So I mean, it used to be 8 years ago, if I can remember how we used to do things. So I had to upload them manually to iTunes, which was such a pain because I had to like learn RSS, which is like the podcast like feed language. You had to like upload the feed to iTunes. That was a super big pain.
Wasn't it called like
but now,
XML or some shit like that?
There was something like that. I don't remember. I tried to block it out of my memory. But now it's like you can just go to this one website. I think we're going to use Anchor. And you just upload it once, and then we can say things like available wherever you get your podcasts because it uploads to like every podcast thing, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher,
all that shit?
like all of them. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Technology
So
has really changed.
it's really changed. So hopefully this will be our pilot test to see how all the things go, uploading and editing and so on and so on.
Yeah, I would definitely have to invest in a small computer chair for my bedroom because right now I'm sitting on a stool and I want to shoot myself, and it's only been 5 minutes.
So you are on a stool. I am in. I keep calling this the torture room in my basement. So one of the things that's happened in the past 8 years is that Mariana and I we got married to each other.
Congratulations!
Thank you. And we bought a house. And this house is from 1925. And in the basement, there's like this weird little room that was built. It's like hard to describe. It's like
maybe it was
wood.
It was a room for illegal alcohol during Prohibition.
Yeah, it feels like it was a room to like store things before there were refrigerators. 'Cause it's cold down here. And it's just like wood. And there's like a little tiny door that's like a kind of like a submarine door. It's like not a full-size door. And it's all just like like hobbled together. It's like just wood nailed to other pieces of wood very cheaply, I suppose. I hear a lot of static on your side again. Are you moving? Stop moving. That's weird. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like your house is on fire. Is it like your mouse or something? All right. So as Eli goes away, we're gonna try to figure out this static. I think it's Eli's wire or something uh, jiggling, making this friction noise. But anyway, so I'm down in this torture room. It has like a torture bulb. It's like an exposed light bulb. Uh, Not very nice at all. So I think hopefully over time I'm going to actually make it nice. But it doesn't actually have a desk. It has like a built-in workstation, like someone built to like put tools on, I guess.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put a desktop on top of it, like an IKEA. You can get like a $10 desk without legs, and then just like screw it into this work thing to make it nice. Because I can get a splinter off of it the way it is now. But whatever, standing desk, like all the cool people. So I'm
Yeah,
standing. You're on a
those are
stool.
nice. I wouldn't mind having one of those.
Well, it's a cheap man's standing desk, which is a workbench. All right. So what do you want to talk about today, Eli?
Well, I think the first thing that we gotta address is the elephant in the country, and that is the whole, that Rona
I thought you,
virus.
I thought you were going to say Donald Trump. I'm like, there are many elephants in this country right now.
Well, if I was gonna refer to Donald Trump, I would have said the idiot in office. I'm not gonna
Oh,
insult
okay.
elephants. You know, elephants are majestic creatures. You know,
They have good memories.
unlike Mr. Anyway, let's not get too political. But
Yes.
anyways,
Save that for next episode.
word. So how you been coping with this whole coronavirus craziness?
It's been interesting. So it's weird. I was sick the first or second week of March. It was right when things started to pick up in the U.S. It definitely wasn't
What do you even remember?
coronavirus. Yeah, I was like coughing and coughing and coughing. I was in a lot of pain. I wound up going to the doctor. It was right when we were like, if it's coronavirus, it would be not smart to like not know. So I went to the doctor, and they were like, "There's no." This is when they're like testing was, but there was zero tests, and they were like, even if you wanted to get tested, there's no tests. And so they gave me an antibiotic, but I responded really well to the antibiotic. So I don't think it was coronavirus because if it was a virus, it wouldn't have worked. But then after that, we've just kind of locked down. So I'm in New Jersey, and New Jersey is really hard hit. And so, like in our little town, 10 people have already passed away. And there's like 200 people that are sick in our town. So it's mostly just stay indoors. I go shopping once a week, and I just cook from home. And it's just been a lot of that. Mariana hasn't left the house in like over a month. So
Like literally
it's been
hasn't left
crazy.
the house.
Like I mean, we go outside. Like we have a porch and like a backyard, and so
But I
like we'll
mean,
go
like leave
outside.
the premises.
So we left briefly last Sunday, which was Easter, not the one that just passed, but the one before that. We just because we wanted to go. We live near Newark, and there's this nice park that's supposed to have like the most cherry blossoms in the U.S., like outside of Washington D.C. And we were like, oh, let's
Okay.
go get some fresh air and check out the cherry blossoms. But the park was closed, so we wound up just driving slowly through it. It's kind of like Central Park. It like kind of runs through Newark, and it's like really beautiful. But it was closed.
Okay.
We couldn't really get out of the car. And then there's a huge cathedral, so we went to the cathedral, but you couldn't go inside because it was closed.
Oh,
But
the one
really beautiful building.
that I told your wife that it looked fake.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a gigantic church. It's like we went to Italy for vacation a few years ago, and you go to like look at the big churches, but it's like 10 minutes away. There's this big church that could be a tourist attraction. Um,
Yeah, that thing looked
but
really,
that
really
was it.
nice. Like it was like really, really nicely bump mapped. It looked realistic. the,
Yeah, I mean,
the graphics
technology
were
these
dope.
days, right?
The graphics were real nice on that church.
But
So really, so
otherwise,
she hasn't been leaving the house that often.
no. So her work, she's working from home now. I work from
Okay.
home already, and so just to avoid like extra exposure, only one person goes out to shop, and so I go out to shop since she's a little more susceptible to illness. She just gets sick easier than I do, so I just go by myself. I'm out for a couple hours, and then I just go to the supermarket, I go to Target, and that's it.
And but how is she dealing with the cabin fever? Because I'll ask you first, and then I'm gonna segue into me.
Yeah, I
So
want to.
how does she
Yeah,
deal with it?
so. When we went last week, she was like, "Wow, I didn't even realize all the trees had bloomed." Because like you go outside, you drive around, you see like spring has sprung, but all you see is our backyard, and down the street here and there, it doesn't feel like that. So it's been a little so-so. Luckily we have enough to keep ourselves entertained. So outside of
I mean,
work, there's
I get that. Like, I'm a big old homebody.
yeah.
And I got everything that I love to do is at home. And for the people who out there who won't know, which is everybody, I'm into pretty much any kind of geekery I'm into. I got my Netflix, my anime, my little geeky movies, my gaming, my tablet to draw, which I haven't been doing, even though I said I should during this fucking
Yeah.
perfect time to do it, but I haven't. But my thing is, like I was gonna say, is I stay home for like 5 days and I'm fine, but I start
Yeah.
losing my shit. Like, actually, right now, today, it's my limit. I feel like I need to get the fuck out. And what we've been doing is, I live on Long Island, and maybe 10 minutes from me, it's the beach. So,
Yeah.
me and my daughter, which is the people who live in my house, me, my daughter, and her boyfriend, and my grandson, we're all hopping my daughter's Jeep, and we'll go to the beach.
Nice.
And we'll walk, we'll walk around. And mind you, there's people there, but it's not a lot. Like the times that I've been is, we've been like what, like hundreds of feet apart.
Yeah.
And again, it's out in the open. So, and we done that, and that did help quite a bit. But like, yeah, like all I've been doing is just waking up, cleaning up a little bit, and either sitting there plastered on my couch watching YouTube videos, and then maybe getting in some gaming. Like I haven't been gaming as much as I thought I would be, because I'm
Yeah.
in this weird like vegetative state,
Yeah.
and it just sucks. I've been cooking when I can, not every day. I've been cooking like at least three to four times a week, and when I don't cook, we'll either order something out or whatever. But it's been kind of crazy, this whole situation.
Yeah, it's weird because it's definitely like on paper it feels like, oh, I could do all the things I want to do, but
Hmm.
I'm not. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake came out and I was super stoked, and I've only played a few hours of it, and it's like otherwise I'm just kind of mindlessly wasting time. I'm cooking a lot. I'm cooking so much, which I've never done before, which is
That's cool.
good and bad because like I've definitely gained weight since this has started, but it's like I guess more wholesome. Like I know what I'm eating instead of like you know
Exactly.
ordering something. I know what I put in the pan. But I think I make pretty good food, so I eat a lot of it.
No, that's dope, man. Like, yeah,
um,
like I wish I'm doing that a little more. But like today, I woke up, which is so weird, and I guess it has to do. I'm sure there's a scientific reason behind it. I mean, but like, I've been going to bed at my regular time, which is gonna sound ridiculous to most people out there, but usually my bedtime is around 1:30, 2 in the morning. Like that's when I go
okay,
to bed for work. Like I wake up
right.
at 8 o'clock and I try to get 6 hours of sleep, and I'm usually okay. But I've been trying to go to bed at that time, but I'm still waking up like at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. Like
You don't set an alarm to keep a schedule.
I do have an alarm, but it goes off. I'm like, and every morning, you know what? Let me get another 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And 20 minutes turn into I'm out of bed at 10:30. And it's like, fuck, man. I don't want to do that, but I've been doing that like a lot.
yeah,
But like I said, luckily, I have been having a lot of fun with my video games. All things
yeah.
considered. Like I recently, well, I quote unquote finished Dragon Quest 11.
Okay, what does that mean, quote unquote?
Oh well, once you beat it, right, you fight the certain boss, right? You get credits. You get long, beautiful credits. Which, by the way,
Mhm.
this game looks incredible. Like it
Yeah,
is.
it's animated with the same guy who did Dragon Ball, right?
Yes, his name is Akira Toriyama. and he
Okay.
designed all the characters and everything. But the game just it has this cell shaded look, but the things that are meant to look realistic do, and it's a real nice
Hmm.
contrast. Like for example, this is one character called Henrik. He's like a knight, so you see his face and
Okay.
his hair very cell shaded, right? But his armor looks like real armor, where you see the hammer
Oh,
strokes of them forging the armor. You know what I'm saying? So like some of the
yeah.
backgrounds and like some of the and like the main character again, he's all cell shaded, but he has like this leather patch on his shoulders, and then when you zoom in on on the leather, you actually see the texture of leather with the little skin and the pores and everything. So it has a real nice contrast of cell shaded. Yeah, so it's like very high quality cell shading with very high quality realistic looking textures on things. So, but the game is great. But the point I was making was, so I beat it. I got credits, and I got some post credit stuff, right? And I
Hmm.
figured it was just whatever. And it turns out, without going into spoilers, a whole bunch of shit happens afterwards. Like
Oh wow.
there's a lot. So far, I think it's about 20 hours worth of story after you
After the
quote unquote
credits.
beat the game. Yes. And I beat the game at 110 hours, I think it was. And I got to the real last boss, and he almost one shot at me, and I rage quit because I was
Okay.
over leveled. And he was like, "Fuck you," and I'm like, I'm not in the mood. So I started playing something else right now. Right now, I'm
Yeah.
working on Metro Exodus. Have you ever even entertained that series?
Metro Exodus. Is that the one that's
Metro.
like it's like demons that come out of the subways in London or something?
Well, that's Hellgate London that you're thinking of, but it's very
Yes, that is what
similar.
I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, this is the first one called Metro, and then there's Metro Last Light, and those were all last gen games. And then this one, Metro Exodus, is for this generation. This game looks so goddamn. I mean, it's a first person shooter set in Russia, and you live in the metros because the rest of the world is all messed up with radiation and monsters. And
Yeah.
the first two games were more horror, which were really dope, and the
Okay.
third one not so much. But the third one is more open world. But the
Huh.
point I'm trying to make is the graphics. Like when you turn it on, if you have a nice 4K TV with HDR, it turns it on, and it looks so bright and beautiful. So like I saw that they had the the season pass on sale for 12
Uh-huh.
bucks, which I think normally would have been 25 bucks, 26 bucks,
Yeah.
something close to that. So I picked it up, and I've been trying to play that for a little bit, and yeah, that also looks really good. Like the brightness of like the fire and the lighting. The lighting is incredible, which just makes me think of next gen with the ray tracing and
Okay.
all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that game is. But I mean, that game, if you're ever bored and you want to play a decent to good first person shooter, I recommend the Metro collection.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I
Yeah,
mean, probably not the first two because I am bad with like horrors and survival stuff, but I
so
can check it
perfect.
out.
Then. So that's what I guess the third one will be perfect for you then.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I got a big list. So like right now, Mariana's playing Persona 5 Royal, which is the like remaster re-release of Persona 5, which came out a couple of years ago, and that's cool. I want
The
to
one
play
on
that when she's
PS4.
done. Yeah, it's on PS4.
Okay.
And there's a lot of new stuff. There's a lot of new stuff in it. Like there's different wings in the dungeons, and there's like a new character, and there's a lot of new stuff in it. But I mean, Persona 5 is awesome. If you haven't played it, you gotta play it. And
I
then Final
have
Fantasy
it
7
on my
remake.
to do list. Like I
It's
said, I
great.
definitely
It's
have it
really
on my
good.
to do list because it looks so good.
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, it's similar. It's a turn-based JRPG. It's like party-based, and you can put your controller down and go do something else. Like there's no rush, which I like.
Of
Final
course.
Fantasy 7 remake I'm playing, which I have to put more time into. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but I'm worried I'm going to get a spoiler.
Well, how many
Um,
spoilers can it be? Seeing how we all play that game already.
so in the 6 hours I've played, there are like way different things. They're similar things, but there are like major story points that are different. They're like
Really?
added. Like the things you expect to be there are there, but there's a lot of extra added stuff in terms of like character motivations and like backstory and all these types of things. Like, let me just tell you, within the first hour, and this is not a spoiler, within
Hmm.
the first hour, you will have interactions with Sephiroth.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's different, and so I'm worried that someone's just going to say something that isn't really a spoiler. It just comes later, but is like that. So I'm trying to avoid those, but I really need to beat it.
Like I said, I was close to getting that, but the whole fact that it's a episodical, I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Like I think I might wait till next gen comes out and they release the Final Fantasy VII Complete Edition, which I think probably won't come out for another 3 years.
I mean, I don't know if part two is going to come out for another 3 years. I think there's going to be three parts. I was going to say, if you're waiting for the complete edition, we might both be dead from coronavirus by then.
Pretty
Yo, but
much, man. But
speaking
I
of
mean, I'm waiting. I'm
coronavirus,
waiting. Go ahead. Go ahead.
speaking of coronavirus, it's pretty crazy, right? So my mom has lupus, and she's out on Long Island too, and she takes this drug, hydroxychloroquine, the one that people are that Donald Trump talks about all the time,
Hmm.
and it's have you heard of it?
Yes, actually, it's funny you mentioned. I was literally looking at my YouTube feed and they had an article pertaining to that.
Yeah, so she takes it for her lupus. She's taken it for like 20 years now. She's been on it for a long time. It's called Plaquenil is the drug name. And now every all the pharmacies that she goes to are sold out. They're on back order because people are buying it in case it's a cure for coronavirus, which it isn't. So
Isn't this something that you have to get a script to get it, or can you just buy it over the counter?
so yeah, you need a prescription, but it seems like doctors are prescribing it
Just in case.
like yeah, like without jurisprudence or without like they're doing it when they really shouldn't be. So it's kind of an issue. She has enough to get by for like another month or two, but it's a short enough supply where it's like, all right, we should pretty much figure out where we're going to get the next batch from.
But like, I'm just a little curious. With your mom's condition, how important is this medication?
So it's hard to say. So it's probably not the most important drug that she takes because she takes a whole bunch.
Okay.
But I mean, the fact that she's been on it for 20 years probably also means like if she had stopped a little bit, it would be fine. But when the question's like, when is you're going to get the next dose? Is it like a week? Okay, you could probably do without a week. But like, if it's 6 months, who knows what coronavirus is going to happen? Then it becomes problematic. The way the drug works is that it what's the easiest way to put it? It like helps it keeps cells from acidifying things. So usually cells will come around and like eat things, and then it'll break down what it eats with acid, more or less.
Okay.
And what it does is it helps stop that. So it's kind of like an immunosuppressant in a way. But it seems like
Okay.
it also and so some of there's been a lot of research on this drug, thinking that it would work for coronavirus because it works with parasitic infections like malaria.
Okay.
I said, oh, well, if it works for this, then it works for other things. But the research that's being done is actually it probably doesn't help with coronavirus, and in some cases it is probably worse because it can trigger fatal heart attacks. So
Shit.
yeah, so overall, it's a little stressful having to deal with this, people hoarding drugs that they shouldn't be. Uh, but, it's going. Hopefully, coronavirus will be gone soon and the panic will go with it.
I mean, no. I mean, you know
What are
what? I
you
think
what
we
are you
should.
doing again? Now there's more shushing, there's more whooshing.
Bro, I'm not even blinking. I'm just sitting still. Maybe
Don't
this
breathe.
bluebell microphone is picking up the sound of my soul. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's weird.
it's the yearning that's picking up.
No, like him, but like we got approximately 6 minutes left. I think we should finish this off with more talking about this Corona shit. Because
Yeah.
I was talking to a good friend of mine, and my good friend lives in Florida. You know, my
Okay.
actually, I got to add this to it just to be a troll. My friend is a proud red Republican, and he's Puerto Rican,
Okay.
which I see it as odd,
Okay.
but that's besides the
Yeah.
point. But he was saying, "Oh,
Does he own a tiger farm?
You might as well. But he was telling me like, oh, that I don't think this coronavirus is as kind of almost like the conversation you and me had. Remember when I
Uh-huh.
when I asked you, I think it was about a month and a half, 2 months ago. I'm like, hey, bro, can I borrow your PhD for a minute? And you were like,
Yeah.
sure. I'm like, okay, because I needed the from somebody who knows about this stuff more in detail than I do. I'm very
Yeah.
layman. You're more professional when it comes to it. And he was saying, oh, it's down here. When I'm not seeing too much, and I'm like, bro, first and foremost, you live in Florida. It's a hotter state over there. But I go,
Yeah.
and I use this one little anecdote. I'm like, I've gone through, because he was using the flu argument as well. The whole, oh, last flu season, 14,000 people died. And I believe I sent you the exact same statistics when I asked you the question that I asked you, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, bro, I've been through, I am 43. I've been living in New York since I was 4. I've been through 39 flu seasons, you know?
Yeah.
Not once in those 39 years have I ever heard of a friend or an acquaintance or a friend of an acquaintance passing away to the flu. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It just never happened. Whereas now I've got this about 5 people that I either know. Two of I'm a school bus dispatcher at the moment,
Uh-huh.
and one of my drivers passed away to this,
It's
and another
crazy.
driver that I'm this few steps away from me knowing him passed away. My wife knows people just passed away. I know this young lady that I know, her father passed away, and he was only 50. It
Yeah.
wasn't that whole old people thing. So that alone, I'm like, I know this is anecdotal, but again, 39 years, I lived through flu seasons, and the most I ever got was somebody telling me, "Yo, man, this flu got me fucked up," when they're in pain. But nobody has died. So I mean, that's making it even more, scary to me. Like I try
Yeah.
not to go to supermarkets because I have several of the underlying conditions that will make it bad for me.
Yep.
So I'm
Yep.
trying to avoid it even more. But it just sucks. I mean, this whole situation. Some people are saying it's a conspiracy theory, and then we have those idiots that are protesting.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Like, what world do we live in where you're gonna protest something about when you're told not to get together and you're protesting it?
Yeah. I mean, I
I
get
just don't
like
get it.
I get where the initial skepticism came from. Like I totally get it. Like when you asked me those questions, my mom did the same thing. It's like for sure because I mean, I personally I know someone who's died from the flu, from the regular influenza virus, and she was young. She was like 33, 34. This was a few years ago. She was a little bit older than I am. She was in fine health, like, she was an able-bodied person, living her life. She was a knitter. I knew her through knitting. Um, and she wound up getting a pneumonia as a complication to her influenza. And then she was hospitalized and she passed away. And so since then, I've started taking these things real seriously because it's like, yeah, older people, their immune system starts to break down and, it's harder. Like their systems are, they've been around for 80 years, right? So their systems are getting towards the end of their ability. But like when young people are passing away too, you got to take it seriously. So since then, I've always been getting my flu shot. But the interesting thing about coronavirus is that it's not like there's never been coronavirus before. So like the 2003 SARS outbreak in China and Japan, that was a coronavirus. And then usually if you get like a flu in the summer, that's typically coronavirus and not influenza. So like coronaviruses are a thing. So this is just like a specific
Okay.
type of coronavirus that is particularly fatal. And that number right now, I think the number is like 2%, 3%. If you account for the cases that people have but aren't being reported. So like, I have a friend who lives in an apartment in New York City where her and all of her roommates were feverish, short of breath, and had known people in her social network who were positive, but they couldn't get tested because they were young, they're in their 20s, and the hospital was just like overflowing with people who are, more severe. So like that's 4 cases right there that aren't being counted, and there's like thousands and thousands of more like that. So like I think the death rate's like 2%. And some people say, oh well, 98% of people survive. But like the other day, Dr. Oz, that Oprah doctor, He
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, well, if people go back to school, then only 4% of the kids will die, and that's fine." And it's like, wait a minute, are you being serious right now? Like, I'm not going to let my kid be a 4% that dies. Like, it's 1 out of 20. It's, what is that? 4 out of 100, 1 out of 25. That's one kid per classroom. Like, that's insane. So,
That is.
uh, and the other thing is, oh well, last year the flu virus killed 60,000 people. Well, we also have the flu virus this year, so like it's 60,000 plus what coronavirus does too. It's like an additional. It's not instead of. It's additionally. Some people say that when they say, oh well, under Obama there was the H1N1 and that killed a bunch of people. It's like, yeah, but that was the influenza season. We have the influenza season plus coronavirus. So I mean, I get it. Like, in New York and New Jersey, like it's very real. Like you can tell, like people are dying and it's crazy. But down in Florida or like in Arizona where my in-laws live, uh, there's not that many cases. And so I can see where this comes from, where it's like, well, I'm have to stay in my home and only 16 people are sick or whatever. Like I can get where that's
Yeah.
frustrating, but if you want to avoid being like New Jersey or New York right now, stay in your damn house.
I mean, like I said, like, to close this bitch off, and I get
Yeah,
it. I know it's not the easiest thing, but yo, people, we're just staying at home. You know what
please
I'm saying? It's just staying home. It's not crazy.
listen to our wonderful podcast.
It's crazy. Like, my wife works in the medical industry, and she's doing the testing herself, and she's putting her life on the line. You
Yeah,
know, and it's crazy. She's
she's the
coming
bravest
home,
one
and
out of
her
all of us.
it's crazy. Yeah, she comes home, and the bridge of her nose is like red from having the mask
Yeah,
on because she can't take it off, and
yeah,
so like I said, if people, and she's a little tiny little harmless woman, and she's putting her life on the line. So if all we gotta do is stay home and just chillax, then just stay home and chillax for now, bro.
yeah.
It's
Yo,
not that
play
crazy.
Dragon Quest 11.
Just it, man. Go outside and grill.
Yo, that's what I got to talk about next podcast. I've been grilling up a storm. I've been grilling so much. All right, so I guess we'll call it there. And until next time, I don't have a sign off, so we'll have to figure it out. So bye.